Hi, I'm Angel with Miss Laura's Brothel Museum, one of only 9 brothel museums in the United States housed in former brothels. Come with me, let's take a tour. Miss Laura's actually operated all the way from 1898 to 1948. Sex work in Fort Smith was actually regulated from 1907 to 1924. Miss Laura's is a standing testament to the 6 houses that were in existence here at one point in time. Miss Laura Ziegler was our very first madam. She didn't quite have enough money to build and furnish this house when she initially bought the property, so she borrowed some money from a couple of gentlemen that were here in town. Now, Laura had her loans paid back to these gentlemen in about 17 months, but when she sold the property to Bertha Gale in 1911 for $47,000, she hightailed it out of town. Now, Bertha was our last madam, as she was here for 37 years. She operated this house. It was known as Bertha's place then. Now, whenever Bertha passed away, she willed the property to a gentleman by the name of Jules Bartholomew. While Bertha was here, she was married to a gentleman by the name of Mac Dean. Bertha, Mac, and Jules are all buried at our National Cemetery here in Fort Smith. We're actually currently in what we like to call the piano parlor. This is actually where our 1873 Steinway lives. It's not playable at this point, but maybe someday. So the items that are in this room are really more everyday items. Give us an idea of what things might have looked like here. A part of these women's everyday life actually included medical care. So we have a lot of items that allude to what that would have looked like here. We have some items over here that are purses that run the gamut from the late 1890s all the way to the 1940s. We have a lot of fashion over here in this case. This is a time frame whenever ready-made fashion wasn't actually available to purchase out of magazines like we can today. We have some other items in one of the cases here that talk pretty specifically about women's safety as it pertained to hat pins of all things. Women were actually being attacked on a pretty regular basis in subways and a lot of public transit, and they were utilizing their hat pins to defend themselves. So the government came in and said, sorry ladies, they need to be a little bit shorter. This room actually would have been called the business office. This is actually how you would have entered the house. You would have come in through a screen door here after ringing a buzzer, and the madam or the bouncer would have let you in. You would have sat down somewhere here in the room and you would have met with the madam. When she decided you weren't going to cause a problem for her, then she would let you in the house, but only after you purchased a token. That's how you would have paid the ladies. It cut down on some of the theft. Not a lot of currency floating throughout the house. You would have come in through the madam's quarters here, which is where our Madam Laura or Bertha would have slept, and then you would have gone on over into the rest of the house. And if you come upstairs, what you're actually going to see up here are rooms that reflect the different decades that our house was open. We were operating from around 1900 all the way to 1948, so these rooms represent the different decades that the house was open. So the 1910s room is actually a really great example of some of our community partnerships. The bed that is on loan in here is actually on loan to us from Mila Mazur, who's the executive director at the Clayton House. Some of the other furnishings and the clothing are actually on loan to us from the Fort Smith Museum of History. And then of course we have some really great donations from private donors here in the community. In the 1920s, consumerism is at its peak. We're purchasing things at will. And this is an example of one of the things that the madams and higher end houses would have tried to have done. They would have been creating an experience for their customers. At this time, King Tut's tomb is being unearthed, and all things otherworldly are super fascinating to our nation. This room is set up to give you an idea of what dining at Miss Laura's Social Club would have looked like. The restaurant was actually open from 1983 all the way to 1988. A lot of the furnishings that we have in the house are left over from that time. In our back area, you're going to see a table set up to give you an idea of what things might have looked like if gentlemen had paid to stay the night here at the house and were dining with the ladies during the day. If you look to the right, you're actually going to see our gift shop, which is stocked full of all kinds of goodies, some of which are provided by local Arkansas artisans. I know we ran through a lot of history today, but please feel free to come back for a full-fledged tour. We give tours on the hour, every hour, Monday through Saturday from 10 to 4. Admission or hours or anything along those lines, please feel free to follow us on social media, visit our website, or get onto discoverfortsmith.com and look for more information there. See you when you get here.